face with me here today. Oh, that's lopsided. It's okay. No, it's not okay. Hold on. That's a little better.
Yeah, that's pretty straight.
Can you guys hear us okay? Let us know in the chat. You might have to mute it. Let us know in the chat. You might have to. Well, I am back. You guys had Nikki and Marley, who I think you might be able to see back here, for a live last week. I'm very appreciative of them for getting on and doing a Q&A with you guys, and hopefully you guys were too, because otherwise we wouldn't have had a live and been able to ask questions. This week I have Jordan here with me, and you guys have probably seen her, like, I don't know, you've had glimpses in certain videos. You were in the pie in the face one. That was like your debut, I think. But she's here today. This is her first live Q&A, and she's going to help me with the questions. So give her grace. I just explained to her how the chat worked, how it might jump, how we try to answer questions in order. With that being said, I don't really have a topic. I'm going to catch you guys up on like where the business is at and what I've been doing for the last week. And then we'll jump into questions. So if you guys put your questions in the chat, try to help Jordan out and put like a bunch of question marks or all caps or type the word question. And hopefully we'll be able to get to them very quickly. I see a lot of people already putting in questions. Good morning, everyone. Where is Nikki? Nikki is on vacation. I'm not going to tell you where. She might have already said, but I'm not going to tell for privacy reasons. She is on a personal vacation with her husband and some friends. So she is going to be gone actually through like part of next week also, I think. So she's going to be having a lovely time. Good morning from Canada. So I was gone last week. I was on a vacation of sorts. It was like a working vacation. I can now say where I was. I didn't want to say while I was gone. Again, just for safety reasons, but I went to Michigan again. I'm not sure if you guys remember that video I did a while ago where I went to Michigan and it was like a total fail. And I was in like the Ann Arbor near Detroit area, and it was just horrible thrifting. I had a horrible time. That's all I'll say. And all of you guys commented and you were like, you went to the wrong place. You should have gone to Grand Rapids. So I went to Grand Rapids this time. I had the opportunity to go there for something else, and I found a ton of good stuff. And Michigan has redeemed itself, and I might go back there. And I had a lovely time. I've got a whole haul I might film later and show you guys, but it's been really good. What's up, beautiful ladies? Somebody says. How did last week go, Jordan?
It was good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
You enjoy not having one of your bosses here?
It was a little lonely, but...
Aww. Nikki was here holding the fort, but she also had to leave last week to go sourcing. All right. Well, should we get started with the questions? Let's see. You want to hop to the top and let's see what they have here. Oh, I think I saw Nikki with her hearts.
Good morning. I miss you guys.
Aw, we miss you too. Nikki's actually in the chat, guys, if you want to say hi to her.
Let's see. Do you regularly revise stale listings?
We do not regularly do it. Usually when we list, at this point at least, I used to regularly revise them, but when we list, we try to get them right the first time. And from that point on, we assume that the listing is correct for the most part, and then we just drop prices after that. There have been times, like if, you know, I'll do a quick glance. If something looks like, you know, maybe it's a really desirable item like a Vuori sweatpant or something, and I see that while I'm doing the markdown process, I will take a second glance at it and be like, okay, why didn't this sell? Because it definitely should have based on experience. So then I'll go and possibly revise it. But in general, at this point, at least, the items that we're picking up, I believe are correct and true listings. But there have been some that we've revised, and we actually just went through and pulled like, what was it, like 100 items of stale listings, but those were from like years ago. I revised a few of them. Actually, some of them have sold, so occasionally we do, but at this point we feel pretty confident in the ones that we're listing now, so we don't revise them every 30 days. I think there might have been a question up at the top that we might have missed about sizing.
When listing on eBay, do you price higher than the sold comps to account for offers to watchers?
We do not. We price at market value or slightly under to ensure a quick sale, and I just send out a smaller discount. It's something that I'm just comfortable sending a small percentage of. It used to be 10%. I'm now sending out 15% offers to watchers, and that's just a blanket discount that I'm comfortable sending off of the already purchased price, and that creates more sales. And in my opinion, the benefits of doing that far outweigh trying to wait for, you know, the right buyer, the right price. You just make a lot more sales that way, and it's only like 10 to 15%, so does not bother me at all.
Well,
I told you, it's jumping on you.
would you consider selling your bins Greenlight list?
Oh, we must have talked about that in the last live. For those of you that don't know, can you tell them what the Ben's Greenlight list is? Do you remember that list?
Vaguely. It's been a while. Basically, a definite yes, as long as it's in good condition. So, specific brands I'm trying to think of.
You don't have to tell them
Okay.
what's on it in case we sell it. But what is the
I was gonna
what is
say,
it in
okay.
general? We created it for Jordan actually, because when she started with us, we originally were sending her to the bins like all the time, and so it was kind of difficult to, especially for a newer person who knew nothing about sourcing, to transition from bins to like the rules we had for regular thrift stores. So we try to make things easy, and we created a Greenlight list for the bins, and the Greenlight list was things that you can definitely pick up without comping if you're at the bins. And did you find that list helpful back when you did it?
Yes, I used it all the time.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll consider selling it, only because like, so we made that list like what, maybe like 8 months ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And if we were to look back at that list now, I feel like there would definitely be stuff that we wouldn't get, and then stuff we would want to add to it. So I don't know. I'm cautious advocating for, yes, pick this up definitely, because I think things change all the time, and I still think that people should do their comps. I saw a question a while ago that said something about why is it that larger sizes sell. Do you have any input on that? Why is it that the larger ones sell quicker and for more?
More material.
More material.
And I don't know, I feel like people find a brand that they really like, and then they just keep buying that brand because they know that it fits them the way they want to.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it, this a couple times, but I think it was Nikki that said, like, when you're someone who shops for plus size clothing, like a lot of the times the stores that do carry plus size are almost always sold out of the size that you need, and so you're almost forced to go online to look for those pieces, and that's typically why they sell out more often. And then someone commented and made a great point, which was that size 14 is like the average US size, which I think 14 now is considered plus size. I don't consider it a plus size, but I think it is considered plus size now. So if it's the most common size, that is why it would sell quicker and for more. What else we got? Hope Nikki's having a blast. Me too.
A couple people in Michigan. How long have you guys been doing no offers on eBay?
For like as long as I can remember. So we do offers sometimes. There would be certain occasions in which we do offers. One of them is after 90 days, we start dropping prices of items and then we add best offer. So we do include best offer when they're older items to get them moving. We feel like at 90 days it should be moving. Most of the time it's because it's priced too high, the market's changed or whatever. The only other time we will add best offer is if we have no idea what to price the item for. Let's say it's a vintage band tee and some of them are going for 100, some of them are going for 200. So we might choose to price at 200 or best offer and let the market decide. But in most cases, and since I have been reselling, I have not included like a blanket best offer on all of my stuff. And that is just because I price fairly. I don't want to haggle with prices. I mean, can you imagine getting best offer like all the time, just constantly receiving offers? We already get a bunch of
that would be exhausting.
Yeah, we already get a bunch of offers with Poshmark that I have to deal with, and I don't know, I think prices are fair. I prefer a no haggle price. I also don't, if it works for you, great, but it does not work for me to price higher than what I would normally and then accept offer just to get it back down to market price. Like, I just don't think that that trick works with buyers, personally, for my business model.
Okay. Marilyn Wilson said, is it t-shirt with a dash, t-shirt without a dash, or t-shirt T-double-E shirt?
It doesn't make a difference. What do we use?
I usually use the T dash shirt.
I usually use the T space shirt. Very rarely do we use TEE. Honestly, doesn't matter. I'm not sure. What you could do is do like a test and go to eBay, open up like 3 different tabs, look up, pick a brand, like, I don't know, Polo Ralph Lauren t-shirt, and then on each tab do it each different way and see what kind of results you get. And that would determine which one you might want to use. But yeah, we usually use T-dash shirt or T-space shirt.
I don't think I've ever used T-double-E shirt.
No, I mean, sometimes we'll put TEE if it's like the style name. Like sometimes, like I think American Eagle has like the soft AFT and it's spelled TEE. So we will use like it's spelled out if it's already spelled out on the garment as a style name, but in most cases we don't.
Okay. Unplug75 said, what do sales look like in November and December compared to now?
That is a great question. Maybe you guys could answer down in the comments below what sales look like for you in November and December, which is like Q4 busy season for most people, compared to right now, which in my opinion is like summer slowdown time. June and July are typically my slowest months. But you know what? Actually, I can show you percentage-wise. Let me steal this from Jordan. We're going to go to ebay.com. I can just generically talk and say that typically what happens for us is our sales boom in Q4, and then we increase listings to maintain that boom. If we were to not increase listings, then I think sales would drop, but typically sales are slower during this time of the year. But I'm going to go to my performance tab on eBay. I'm going to go to a custom date. We are loading here. Custom. So let's go to November through December. I ordered a replacement pen for this tablet, by the way.
You've probably gotten used to not having it.
Compared to, oh shoot, can I even? Oh, I can't compare to right now, but okay, sales in November, maybe I should just do November. Sales November last year, in total on just eBay were about 12,800 on just eBay. And right now, Oh, good grief. Let's just do this month. I'm actually up, so I did just everything that's happened in July so far. I'm a little over 15,000. I still have a few days to go, so my sales are up on eBay, but that's because we increased listings. So hopefully that gives you an idea. If you don't do anything, your sales will more than likely decrease. Usually in the past, when I wasn't increasing listings during this time, which is my strategy to combat, they typically go about half of what they are in Q4, but always recommend combating with increased listings. And just anyways, like on a year-to-year basis, shouldn't you be trying to improve and increase numbers? Sorry, I probably messed you up.
You're good. Okay, Allison B said, why do larger sizes sell so much better in both men's and women's clothing? My husband asked me and I didn't have a good answer.
Oh, okay, so maybe that was the question I saw and got out of order. So that was a question we just talked about. I think it goes the same for men's too, right? I mean, it might be harder to find those larger sizes. In general, I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just saying, at least in America, the average US size has gone up for both men and women. Like, that's just a fact. That is not an opinion, that is a fact. So more people are buying it, which means those sizes are sold out more often in stores. Somebody put it great in the comments when they just said supply and demand. So supply and demand, and they sell great on online platforms just because they're harder to find in store.
Okay. Adrian B said, which is better, eBay or Posh?
It depends, but I am an eBay girl through and through. I started on eBay. I'm very fortunate because I feel like if I would have started on Poshmark and then try to go on to eBay, I would have been terrified. Like, if I would have had you start listing on Poshmark, think about how easy their stuff is, and then said, okay, now I want you to list on eBay, and you had all the drop downs and all the clicky things, it probably would have been pretty intimidating, right?
It would have been a little rough.
Yeah. So we start on eBay here and then push it out to everything, but I'm an eBay girl through and through, only because I started there. To me, it's the easiest platform. It makes every other platform easy once you figure it out. And it's just a pre-owned clothing beast because there are so many users on it compared to the other sites that you're more likely to make sales. You're also more likely to have more competition. However, you have the best opportunity to make sales, and that's why I prefer eBay, despite how difficult it can be sometimes.
Let's see.
Good morning, everyone.
Elisa, I probably am going to butcher that, but
Wayne Scott.
She said, good morning, I've only used Posh's provided inventory sheets up until now. If I start using List Perfectly to cross-list, do I need a separate inventory spreadsheet or is the LP catalog enough?
I might need you to clarify for me, but I assume that you mean you're using the custom SKU in Poshmark. I assume that's what you mean when you say that. When you use List Perfectly to cross post, depending on which plan you have, as long as you make sure that the custom SKU cross posts with it, you can cross post it to LP or to eBay, and that custom SKU will follow it as long as that's part of your plan. If you're talking about something else, I'm not aware of any Poshmark special inventory system other than the custom label, custom SKU. So if someone could help me out in the chat, if I'm missing something, let me know. We start everything on eBay, so I don't really look at that. But if you cross post and you're talking about the custom label or the SKU, that information can come over with you. You can also do what we did for a long time, which is just use one platform as your base platform. We list everything on eBay, cross post to List Perfectly just to have an extra place for data in case something goes wrong on eBay, which it does a lot, and also to keep track of which platform's on which. But we still go back to eBay to look at our SKU most of the time to pull items. And so as long as all of your info is in one platform, it should be pretty easy to find. And eBay makes it super simple because if you end an item on eBay, that SKU doesn't delete, it goes to unsold listings. So you can still find your unsold listing SKU. Other platforms, once you delete it, it's gone.
Okay.
It bounced on you, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of comments about large sizes. Appreciate you guys helping each other out in the chat.
Okay. Patty F said, how many available items do you keep both on eBay and Posh?
Do you know how many we have right now? We just went over a certain number for the first time.
I believe it's over 6,000 on eBay.
Yeah. We just, it's the most that I've ever had, and we just went over 6,000. Actually, I can tell you. We have, oh no, that doesn't count. That doesn't count because we're doing something different, which I haven't talked about yet. We just went over 6,000 active listings on eBay, and everything gets cross-posted to Poshmark as well. Nearly everything. So 6,000 on eBay, 6,000 on Poshmark. I don't really try to maintain a certain number. I try to maintain listings. So we're listing the same amount every day. If we can sell more and have less inventory, that would be my goal. But our goal is to list currently 45 active listings every single day, and then hopefully get to selling 45 active listings every single day. But as far as holding a certain number of inventory, we don't really focus on that. I would love to be down to like 2,000 and just have a ridiculous sell-through rate.
Okay. Judy C said, hello ladies, do you use words women's and size in your listings? We do.
We do. Yeah. We have a title structure for better or for worse. I know you can omit certain words for certain brands, like if they don't sell a certain gender, but we find it very helpful to have the same title structure for everything, just to make things simple and like blast out listings. So we always put the gender and we always put the word size.
Spare Change 101 said, do you put the word women's in all of your women's listings, even if it is a women's brand like Talbot's or Catherine?
Up until now we have, but we actually just talked about the other day in a meeting where, I told everyone here they had the option to omit that word. Like Eileen Fisher, for example, just sells women's, so we could omit the word women's if we had a better keyword to replace, to use if we needed the characters. But like I said, in general, that title structure works really well for us. So we're most of the time just using the same title structure and including the gender.
Okay. Barbara said, for Q4, I recommend for gift giving, you post as much as possible new with tags and or rare and collectible items.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Where this thing keeps popping up.
There we go. Okay.
Let's see. Joe's Travel Adventures said, I used Vindu to cross post and have sold the same item more than once on 2 different platforms because I did not the list fast enough.
I think they mean delist, yeah.
Have you had this problem with the list perfectly?
So I am just now seeing video footage of like Vindu. So compared to list perfectly, my understanding is that Vindu has like an automatic delist feature when you click something as sold, but you still have to manually go in, find your item on Vindu and assign it as sold, and then it's supposed to take down off of any platform that it's still listed on. I've heard that that's kind of buggy right now, and that sometimes it doesn't work, and people have found listings that were supposed to have been taken down. It just didn't work. I do not have that feature with List Perfectly. I assume that they're probably coming up with something because they have like a sales detection feature now where they alert you that a sale has happened, but you are still required with List Perfectly to manually, they have a delist feature so you can click their buttons to have it delist for you, but you still have to do the clicking. I do it in a tried and true way, which is I click on the little links that List Perfectly provides, which takes me directly to the Poshmark listing, and then I still have to hit edit and delete, or it takes me to the eBay listing and then I end the item. I know it sounds like it takes a long time, but it really doesn't. It takes like, I don't know, less than half a minute to do that. To me, it takes like 10 seconds just because I'm so used to doing it. But by doing it in a kind of manual way, I always guarantee that the item is taken down because I've physically seen it taken down. What can I say? Things don't work properly sometimes, and it's still on you as the seller to either use technology that's going to work for you or find a way around it and have things set up in place for when it goes wrong. And that's the best thing I can say. But I have heard that Vendoo can be a little buggy, and hopefully they get that worked out for those of you that use Vendoo. We also take items down several times throughout the day. So not to say that we never have duplicate sales, because we definitely do every now and then, but it's not very often. Man, that's kicking your butt.
Does not like me today.
I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, click on that white bar when it happens.
Okay.
Man, you guys are quiet today. Are you quiet, or can I just not see the chat enough?
Our swimmerization, I think, said, does she mean the year-end report for tax purposes?
I'm not sure what comment you're referring to, so let me know down below. If you're talking about the sales I just pulled, I just went onto the eBay performance tab and pulled it. It's quiet. I guess Nikki answered all of you guys' questions last week. Well, we are going to get off of here like max an hour. So if you guys don't have any more questions, we will get off here. But if you do, go ahead and put them down in the chat below. We have 162 people watching and 36 thumbs up. So if you guys wouldn't mind giving us a thumbs up, you would really help this channel out. For clarification, I've never kept inventory spreadsheet, only use the ones. Can you pull that down? I think they're talking about that question before. Only use the ones provided on Posh. Okay, no, that was the same question. Wanted to make sure I understood it. We're good.
Okay, Liz said, do you recommend to have an LLC for online business?
I would say if you're going to make it, if you're planning on making it your business, like it's not just going to be a side hustle, then yes, I would recommend to get an LLC and do it in the first place, because it's a lot harder to switch once you're like a couple years down and then you decide you want to get an LLC. It's a lot harder to switch after that. So if you can do it from the beginning, I would recommend it.
Thrift with Joy said Vendoo isn't able to delist on Posh when there is an active offer on an item. You have to change the size to manually delete. Perhaps it is better to know you have to manually delete everything.
Yeah, I mean, List Perfectly is the same way. It's just, it's not the fault of these delisting tools. It's just like Poshmark. And really, Poshmark needs to fix that even for those people that are like physically finding it on Poshmark, searching it, like only Poshmark users, because if you don't have the item, you don't have the item, right? And you really don't want to still have an item available that's not for sale and then someone to buy it, and then there's bad customer service because you have to cancel the order, and then you try to explain to them why, and you're like, well, it's because Poshmark wouldn't let me delete the listing. But yeah, it does that with List Perfectly too. It's just Poshmark as a whole does that, but the workaround, yes, is to change the size, and I have heard now that sometimes the size doesn't work, that sometimes you actually have to change the brand to get it to clear out offers. I've had to do that as well.
Okay.
Is this live every Monday? We try. The goal is to do it every single Monday, but sometimes we have vacations, sometimes we just got stuff going on. But yes, we try to get on live on Mondays, and right now we're doing it 10 a.m. EST. We try. I try to also put like a future like countdown, so if we're going to have one, usually you'll know no later than the day before.
Okay. Jeannie said, I have more of a problem with the same person buying the item literally seconds apart. It's only happened twice, though, and thousands, so not too bad.
Like the same person goes on both your eBay and your Poshmark and buys the same item? To me, that sounds like someone's kind of out to get you.
That's dedication.
Yeah. Or maybe they're just like, I really want to secure this item and I don't want anyone else to buy it. Or they're trying to get like the best deal and they hope you cancel whichever order is most expensive. I don't know, but yeah, that's an issue. But it kind of sounds like maybe they're doing it on purpose.
Alex said, good morning. How do you find great keywords?
How do we find great keywords?
We actually, every week, we have meetings, and Marley comes up with 2 keywords every week on Monday, and then we have all week to look those up and kind of get some information about them. And then on Friday, we talk about what we learned, and then she'll go over like what they actually mean, or if we're right or if we're completely wrong.
How do you guys look them up? Like when she gives you the words, what do you guys do to figure out what they're all about?
We usually look up, I'm trying to think. So like, for example, we'll do preppy. I'll usually type in like Google preppy aesthetic or preppy clothing, and then I'll just do images and write down some of the things I've seen or the themes that kind of go with it. And then we talk about it on Fridays, and that kind of helps us learn new keywords every week.
Yeah, that's something that we do here at the office. Now, Marley, can you hear me?
Yeah.
If the keyword that you choose is not a keyword on the keywords document, which I know sometimes it hasn't been, where are you finding these keywords for each week?
So I actually was like Googling aesthetics and found a site that like talks about a bunch of different keywords, or well, we call them keywords.
Yeah.
And I've just been pulling some off of there that weren't already on our keyword strings list.
Oh, cool. So there you have it. Search like fashion aesthetics, fashion keywords, and then just go down the rabbit hole, basically. But we do that every week.
Happy Girl said, I've asked a question 3 times, and I don't know if you can see it. We cannot. I have not seen your name pop up.
Put your question down again. We're also not to the bottom of the chat yet, so it might be that we just haven't gotten to it. But definitely, I can see your comment, so it's not like you're blocked or anything, but go ahead and put your question on here again.
Christy Miller said, what are your favorite and least favorite parts of the business? Her favorite is shopping, and her least favorite is photos.
I can relate. I don't know. I feel like it changes like every 6 months for me. If you would have asked me like a year ago what my favorite was, I probably would have told you photos. Now it's my least favorite. I don't like taking photos. I don't know why that changed for me. It feels very tedious now. Maybe it's because I have back issues now, so it's like I'm worried about hurting my back issues. That's a real thing for resellers. But it used to be my favorite. I would definitely say photos are my least. And I don't know. I don't even know if shopping is. I have been extremely burnt out over the last several months, but I feel like I'm out of my funk now. Now that we have like wholesale coming in, and a lot of you guys have reached out on Instagram and on here to sell me like your death pile and stuff. So The pressure of having to drive an hour away every day and source like a crap ton of items has lessened for me. I mean, I'm still doing it, don't get me wrong, but the pressure of it and feeling the chasing the numbers, I guess, was what was happening during sourcing, and it made it not enjoyable anymore. Again, I still did it because I had to do it, but it wasn't as much fun anymore. I feel like it's becoming fun again because I'm able to relax a little bit. But honestly, I love the listing part, and I don't know why. I think it's because I'm a fast typer, and these girls know I like love timing. I challenge myself to like always beat my own times and learn the shortcuts, and I don't know. I like the listing portion actually. How about you? Favorite and least favorite?
When I started, I absolutely hated photos. Like, that was,
Yeah,
I
that's
would
true.
wake up in the morning and be like, I really do not want to come in and do photos. But now, I actually don't mind them. I would say my least favorite, which isn't really like a big part of my day, but steaming. I hate steaming. It's kind of OCD pleasing when you get like all the wrinkles out, but when you're like just standing there steaming the same thing for 10 minutes, it's like, this is ridiculous.
All the linens.
Oh my god.
Spring and summer.
But yeah, I would say I like doing photos now. I also like shopping too. That's pretty fun.
Why do you think you disliked photos so much in the beginning, and why do you think your mind has changed now?
I don't know. I've thought about that.
Back problems?
Yeah. It really doesn't hurt my back that
It
much.
kills me.
I don't know if it's just because like I was like looking at it as, oh, I need to get all these things done, but now it's like, ooh, this is cute. Is this my size? Or would I wear this? And then like I try to think of keywords as I'm taking photos, so I'm paying more attention, I think, now.
Yeah. I think not speaking for you, but like speaking to everyone on the live, like I think some of the times the reason, at least in my own life, when I've really disliked doing something, it's because I didn't like completely understand it or feel comfortable in it because I didn't know enough about it. And like once I did it and like got really good at something, like all of a sudden I enjoyed it. And I'm like, why do I enjoy this now?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it comes with just being uncomfortable. So if you're listening and you're like, man, I really hate listing, practice listing. You'll get good at it, and then it'll become like your favorite part. So. Lauren, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate you. We try to stay positive here.
Goofy dumb, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I remember.
She said, did you go to the bins near Grand Rapids? I've only been to the ones in Flint, which is super chill. I hear it is intense by Grand Rapids.
I saw the Goodwill outlet. I'm gonna be honest. I did not go with the intention of it being a thrifting trip. It was another kind of business trip for me. So I thought I was only gonna get to thrift like a little bit, but I actually ended up getting to thrift a lot. And what happened was, if you guys remember Joe, my boyfriend, in that video, I like made him go thrifting with me, and my mom actually went with me too. But I just searched thrift store, like in the area we were in, Grand Rapids, and there were so many thrift stores, and I was almost overwhelmed, and I was like, I don't even know where to begin. And so the first day I thought was going to be the only day I would get to thrift. So my mom, my boyfriend, my little brothers and sisters, we got in the car all together to go thrift, and I took us to like all over the map of these Goodwills, and it was really good. Well, then the next day I ended up being able to thrift again, and I couldn't even remember where I'd been because the map was so big, and I don't have like the Google history turned on. So I couldn't even tell if I'd been to those places or not. And if you guys live in Michigan and you shop in Grand Rapids, I just want to say, all of your Goodwills look exactly the same inside. Exactly the same. So I would go into one place and I'd be like, oh my God, did I just go here? Like, I was so confused. So if you're from that area or you've shopped there, let me know down in the comments. But I was legitimately confused. I luckily did not double go to any place. But yes, I was shopping in the Grand Rapids area. If I would have been expecting to thrift more, I might have drug everyone to the bins. I saw the bins, but did not go to it. Trying to be more leisurely thrifting, but I did find a ton of great stuff. But yeah, it was the weirdest thing, because like at our thrift stores, like I can picture all of them right now. Like if I said, this one, we have names for all of them based on like the street or the city. They all look different. Okay. They're all laid out differently. I kid you not, not even one, every single good one in Grand Rapids looked the exact same on the inside. I was so confused. It was interesting, but let me know down in the comments if you know what I'm talking about.
Let's see. How do you keep track of cost of goods?
We put individual cost of goods in the SKU, but in general, for bookkeeping purposes, I do more like a total where I'll tally up the receipts and like total number of items that I've got. So based on receipts, and then we do still keep track of individual cost of goods just to make sure we're making good decisions, and we put that in the eBay custom SKU.
Okay. How do you deal with returns that you know is a scam? They had a return and it's being returned damaged, but they know it's not what they sent.
My sister just texted me this weekend. I'll be quick with the story, but she is dealing with a scammer right now, and eBay backed the scammer up, and so she's fighting with eBay right now because she had a buyer who purchased an item. They wanted to return it for whatever reason. They chose INAD, item not as described, so it automatically approved the return, and then they sent her back an item that was not her item. And she contacted eBay and was like, what the heck? And they backed up the buyer because they said that we only focus on the tracking. And I was like, okay, but it's the wrong item.
Yeah.
So she's going to contact eBay for Business on Facebook, and if that doesn't happen, then I'm going to go on YouTube and try to get eBay's attention. But that's bull crap. I'm sorry. But how do you deal with a scammer? eBay does, I'm talking crap about eBay, but they do have a lot of things in place that you can do. So like if we get a return back and it's not in the proper condition, first thing we do is report the buyer. I think there's a little button that says like report a problem. And then they do have those options like buyer made a false claim, buyer chose a reason that wasn't the actual reason. There's a couple different things, or maybe the item arrived damaged. So there's a couple things you can do. After you report the buyer, then you still have to provide the refund. And what we usually do is we deduct the refund. So like if I'm going to have to wash an item because it came back smelling like not what it should smell like, maybe I'll charge like a cleaning fee. If the item came back and I know I'm not going to be able to sell it at all, then I'll take the maximum deduction that I can, which is 50% of the item. Really, they should give you the full amount, but basically report them. When you go to do your refund, do a deduction and pray that eBay backs you up.
Let's see. Do you use promoted listing, and how much?
In the past, I have not used promoted listings very often, but I'm currently testing it out right now. Based on what my listings quality report says on eBay for different categories. So it's different per category. I can't really give a blanket statement, but if it goes well, I'll do a video on it.
Are we going to Posh Fest 2023?
Got that question a lot. I feel like we're not going to be able to. We've got a lot going on here, a lot of things at the office. We've got people, I got people out right now traveling. I have some things going on towards the end of the year that I'm going to be out of town for. So as bad as I would like to, I'd love to go to every single reseller event, like every single one, but it's just not always feasible time-wise, money-wise, and then sometimes it's just not conducive to what our goals are here. So I think probably not. And if we were going to go to something, it would probably be eBay open, only because I've never been to one, and we did go to Posh Fest last year. But I did tell the girls one year I would like to take us all to Posh Fest because I think it would be fun.
Let's see.
Jumping.
Mhm.
Well, and we got some questions now. I shouldn't have said you guys were quiet.
Molly Davis said, I've had someone buy the same thing on both platforms. She wanted 2 matching lamps and I only had 1.
She didn't realize it was the same picture. Come on.
Okay, Angie's at it again, said, how are you liking the new inventory system? Do you put your shoes in the number system too? I started out having shoes separately, but found most shoes fit nicely in the number system.
Well, nice of you to notice. We did change our inventory system. I'm not going to go too much in detail because I would like to do like a whole video on it. But to answer your question, no. We still have bulk items like coats and jackets, shoes, and a few other things that are still outside of this this inventory system. I don't think that we're going to change that personally. I think that we'll keep it the same.
Okay.
My makeup looks amazing this morning. Listen, I messed up this morning. I think it looks better on camera. I got this new NYX like pen thing, and look how thick my eyeliner is. You know,
looks good though.
You know when you're doing it and you're like, oh, I have to overcorrect, so like you try to change the other side, it ends up being like way thicker than it should be. So thank you. If you saw it in person, you might be like, oh, just kidding.
Okay.
I had to put on makeup today to cover up all my sunburn. Burnt like everywhere right now.
Okay. Window Wendy said, how do you like the boxes for inventory? Was thinking of doing a similar system. Do you think you get more items per shelf? I only have room for 3 shelving units and want to make the most.
Well, I guess we're talking about this today. So it's basically like a magazine system. A lot of people are saying daily refinement system. Yes, he does or used to use this. A lot of people have used this system. We just switched over to it. As far as how many fit on the shelf, there definitely are less that fit on the shelf compared to what I had before, only because I was using, like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it takes up like half to 3/4 of the space, whereas before we were like literally using up to the tippy top. But nothing was in order. It was all like scrambled together. Now they're all, I can grab a box and show you. They are all in order, standing up straight, one after the other. So very, very nice. But no, we definitely could not fit as many as before. And to be honest with you, the boxes cost more than what the banker boxes do, like as a whole. However, the amount of time that we're saving now, with both listing and pooling for shipping, is like tremendous, which is the main goal. It did take a long time to get that switched over. Well, it was like 2 days to get it completely switched over. We got 6,000 items, guys. It was a lot. But now that it's set, like, I feel really good about it. And I mean, is pulling shipping easier for you?
Yeah, I like it.
We also switched to the bigger like inventory number labels that we now print instead of handwriting, so there's like no confusion on what number is what. And I think besides shipping, the best thing about it is that when you guys are listing, they're doing the photos. As soon as the photo's done, they're putting it in the inventory box and they're filling up that file all in order, and then they're just bringing it, dropping it on the shelf, and they're done. Which has been tremendous on saving time as far as like the drafting portion goes, because once like photos are done, they're in inventory system, whereas before you guys were doing like the whole listing, and then we would have a pile of scrambled numbers that we were reusing, and then we'd have to spend time going and putting them back in their like replacement boxes, basically. But loving it so far. There's still a few kinks that we're working out, such as like we haven't quite decided what we're doing as far as the condensing process. That's definitely the biggest downside, is the condensing process. Tech and Sports uses a better system. Yeah, I cannot foresee the hanging system yet. I love the idea of it, but I don't have as much space as he has. Even though we do have a lot of room here, I don't have enough room in this office with the amount of inventory I have to have a hanging system. But it is interesting. Thank you. Double hung. Yeah. Even still, I still don't think we'd have enough room. It still saves us a tremendous amount of space by hanging. I am telling you, I have more inventory. Would you like to come on my channel and just tell everybody about your inventory system? I feel like they're salty. I'm sorry that you don't like the inventory system. It's a step up, okay? We're really enjoying it.
Natasha said, do you make drafts before listing? How far ahead would you recommend being scheduled out?
Do we make drafts before listing? Is that what the question was? Yes. So we're...
First before listing, yeah.
Yes. We are using... No, I would like to be anonymous. Okay. Moving on. We do make drafts, like we make a shell of a draft. Before, I have not seen any mods in the chat, but if there are any and I've just missed you, maybe you guys could put in the chat the link to the video I'm about to talk about, which is, I lost my train of thought because I'm reading this person's question.
Drafts before listing.
Drafts before listing. So there is a video about bulk uploading drafts, and we basically create a spreadsheet while we're sourcing of everything that we're picking up. And so because we do that work up front, by the time it comes back to the office, we've already got everything typed out. So we upload our Excel spreadsheet, and it creates a shell of a draft, and then they go grab the bucket that those drafts are for, they photo, assign to those listings, and then finish the listing. And then what are we scheduled out to? Let's see. We are currently scheduled out through July 6th. We're typically scheduled a couple of weeks out. I try to get us to 2 to 3 weeks, but we do use the draft bank from time to time because we have people that go on vacation. So like Jordan's one of our listers. When she goes on vacation, she doesn't list because she's on vacation. And so we don't want to always have to feel like we have to replace what she's doing, which is what we did in the past. Now when she goes on vacation, like Nikki and I can still do our own thing with sourcing or whatnot. We can still do what we need to do without having to worry about all those listings that aren't being done that week. And so, you know, if she takes a week off, the 3-week draft bank becomes a 2-week draft bank. So it fluctuates, but I feel like this is the smallest draft bank we've had in a while, but it's because everybody's been on vacation. We've been switching over this fabulous inventory system that I'm not changing. And we have been, we've just been doing a lot of things here. Marley, who normally lists on a Monday, is not listing today, and she's going to be condensing our inventory. So, you know, we'll take days here and there, but we try to keep it 2 to 3 weeks.
Are you in any reseller mentorship groups?
I am in a reseller mentorship group, but I am not very active on there. I have learned a lot through the group and through strategies and efficiencies on there, but I'm not on there very often. In fact, a lot of people didn't even know that I was in the group because I'm just not very active on there. But I am in the daily refinement group. If anybody is interested in that, I do think that it can be a great place to learn. I don't think that it's anything that you can't learn off of free videos. However, just like anything that you pay for, it's collected in one place, and you're probably going to get there a lot faster if you have somebody to mentor you or places to go where you can ask questions. I'm not going to lie to you, I've been in a lot of reseller groups, and daily refinement's definitely the best one. But in any group, including that one, there tend to be rude people, or in every group, people think like their way is God's way, and they don't ever allow for any other business model but their own, I guess is what I'll say. So if you go to a group, I don't want you to expect that you're always going to, I guess what I'm trying to say is you have to go into it knowing that people are going to constantly push one way or the highway with you, but you have to decide what you're going to take from it and what you're not going to take from it based on what your situation is. For a long time, this inventory system was not my situation. It could not be reality for me. And, it was being pushed on me. Well, now I'm finally in a place where I can do it, and I'm happy I did. But just want to throw that out there for anybody that gets on a group. You do have to go in there with some caution, because people can be mean, people can attack you, and people can think that it's their way or the highway, when that's not always the case. And if you're ever in a group and you feel like you're being attacked or like you're not able to have more than one opinion, probably not the right group for you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, let's see. Samantha says, as someone with ADHD, sitting down to list is torture to me. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, it's very peaceful because it's like, okay, I can just work on my listings, listen to music. But other times it's like, oh gosh, I can be doing so many other things right now instead of just sitting here.
Yeah, we've been discussing a lot. So like the goal for everyone at the office right now is to be able to list 50 a day in an 8-hour shift with an hour lunch. So that's the goal. It might increase in the future, it might decrease in the future. But we've been talking about, if you're used to only doing so many and then you bump up to 50, like, should you just do it? Should you just photo all 50 and then draft all 50, or should you break it up? If you're somebody that is like, man, I really hate sitting down and listing all 50, maybe it would be better to break it up into like 25 or 20 10. But what works for some might not work for others. You got to do what works for you. But if you're struggling with it, consider maybe breaking it up.
Let's see. Corrine said, how many active listings do you normally have?
Normally, for a long time, we were sitting at like, I want to say it was like 5,300. But recently we increased listings here at the office, so that number's gone up substantially. So now we're at 6,000 active listings, but again, we're not trying to maintain a certain active inventory number. I would actually prefer for it to be less. So we would want to sell things faster and have less inventory here. Our goals are to list the same amount of items that all fall under 90-day 100% sold.
Okay, Lori said, are you comfortable telling us what part of the Grand Rapids you shopped in? She lives in Southwest Michigan and would love some new sourcing places.
I literally went everywhere. When I say I hopped everywhere, I went like, Grand Rapids is pretty big, right? So if this is Grand Rapids, I went like here. The best places I found, had the most luck at, I'll say, there's a place called, I think it's called Frederick Meyer. It was like a botanical and sculpture garden. I went there. But all of the thrift stores surrounding that seem to be a pretty decent area for thrifting, and that's where I had the most luck. So if you want to look up that area, I think it was northeast of Grand Rapids.
Okay, Faith said, single best advice to start or perfect my eBay store.
Single best advice would be to pick sought after items and actually do comps. Don't just pick up things because you see other people doing it or because you think it feels nice. Actually look for the data before you pick something up, because that causes everything else to either fall into place or to not work at all. If you don't start with a sought after item, nothing else is going to work.
Michelle said, did either of you have retail experience before getting into reselling?
You can go first.
I did not. I don't know. I kind of did a lot of things before this job, but not really retail.
Not retailer. I had 10 plus years of retail experience, all the way from the lowest level of the totem pole to, I wouldn't say the highest, but to a district trainer level in my region. So yes, I have a lot of experience in multiple different areas of retail.
Was the Grand Rapids Goodwills full of Target clearance? That's all they find in Southeast Michigan.
I feel like every Goodwill, including Ohio, has a lot of Target clearance, but to be honest, I don't remember seeing a ton of it. Grand Rapids shopping or thrifting was very similar, very, very similar to where we shop at in Ohio. They had very similar brands, which made it very easy for me to quickly go through things, because it wasn't like I went to Florida and was looking for brands that you'd find in Florida with like a bunch of beachy stuff. It was really easy for me to just go a state over and be able to look for the same stuff I do here. But no, I didn't really see an overabundance of stuff. Found a lot of great stuff.
Julie said, while sourcing, how much time do you spend looking for stains and major flaws on items, which may be the main reason the item is in the thrift store in the first place?
That is true. I don't know, maybe like 10 seconds. It really doesn't take that long. I mean, you grab the item.
I usually do like a front, back,
Yeah.
and then
Front, back, maybe if you're feeling extra cautious, check, the areas that get issues the most. Like if they're jeans, maybe check the thigh area to check for pilling, pit area for stains, but like 10 seconds or less. Same thing with comps. A lot of people ask how long it takes to comp. 10 seconds or less. It's super easy.
Is this a new girl? No, I'm not new. I've been here.
You're not our newest. Marley's our newest in the back. You're still pretty new though.
Yeah.
You haven't been here for quite a year yet, but no, we are talking about doing or getting another new hire. We're about to start the process, but haven't yet. So I don't know. We ask every new hire if they're comfortable being on camera, if they're not comfortable being on camera, and we respect those decisions. Jordan's actually okay with being on camera. She just, she pops in every now and then.
Yeah, I'm kind of quiet. I stay in the back. Let's see.
Yeah, you can skip all those.
Yeah.
All right, well, we are a little over an hour, so we're going to blast through the rest of the questions. So if you've got any more, put them down below, but we will be getting off of here shortly.
Do you schedule your drafts throughout the day?
No. For simplicity's sake, we just schedule them at the beginning of the morning. We come in at 8 o'clock. That's when our drafts go live, and we schedule them all to go off at 8 o'clock. In theory, you want to, the most, like the perfect ideal situation would be that you would schedule them when your buyers are most active, ideally. So whether that means they're peppered throughout the day, or whether that means, everyone's on at noon or 9 p.m., whatever. Ideally, that's when you would want to schedule them to go active. However, for most people, it's more beneficial to just get them done. Otherwise, if you're too worried about, when they're getting set live, you might miss being consistent. And so I just recommend to flush them out and get them done.
Let's see. How do you go about hiring people? Eva said that she just had her third baby and she's desperate to find someone. She just can't.
We've talked about hiring a lot recently, but my biggest suggestion is to be patient and wait for the right person to come. Don't hire someone just to have a warm body, or you're going to end up wasting a lot of time and money. Most of the time, I find my candidates by posting in my local Facebook groups, by friends of friends, or people locally. I don't know why, I seem to have better luck that way. It's just a more personable thing. And usually we get pretty good recommendations. Like if your friend sees that you have an opening and they're willing to recommend somebody, they're putting their reputation on the line, and so you can usually get better candidates that way, at least in my experience. If we don't have luck with that posting in our local Facebook groups, then we move on to sites like Indeed has been a really good one for us, and take candidates from there. And we've had a lot of candidates from Indeed as well. From there, we now have a 3-part interview process, but interviewing and move on from hiring from there. If you're going to make them a W-2 employee, I recommend getting a payroll processor, actually going to a CPA office and getting with a company that does payroll from the beginning, because it just makes life super easy. You can do it yourself. I did it for a while in QuickBooks, but it's much less stressful to just pay the fee and have somebody else do it.
Let's see. What size boxes do you use?
I would have to look. I wonder if it says on the back. I want to say they're like 17 by...
They're skinny boys, that's all I know.
17 by 7 by 7. And we use 4 of them on each. I'll probably put the new link in there at some point. We didn't want to waste all the banker boxes we had. So we basically cut the banker boxes in half and made it fills 2 of those boxes. So we did that as well.
Stephanie says, do you think it's more efficient to condense inventory or to reuse inventory numbers?
Our previous setup was that we did reuse inventory numbers. We did that for a long time. We switched over to this process for condensing because I believe it is faster. And it's not just the condensing process. You also have to think you're saving a lot of time when you list too, because you're able, instead of having to go replace all those SKUs with your items, you can just put them into one box and be done. So there's a lot of things to consider, but I do think that this method is the fastest.
Let's see. Best find from your trip.
My brain is mush. I would have to pull it up to look at our spreadsheet, but Joe found, I'm telling you guys, he's gonna be one of those vintage t-shirt bros. He loves it, and he has such a knack for it now. What did he find? He found a couple vintage t-shirts. The best one we found is probably gonna be a vintage 90s Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt, which I think I'm gonna list for I don't know, $250 or best offer. He found a couple of cool vintage shirts that I haven't even comped yet. I'll show you guys it in a haul, but I would say those are probably the best. I did find a lot of Lululemon, some really good Eileen Fisher. When I say Lululemon, I mean the nice jogger pants and stuff. I found a pair of pull-on size extra large Spanx jeans, and I believe they were flare. So those might go for over $100, but definitely one of those vintage t-shirts, and I didn't even find it, but I'm gonna take credit for it.
Okay. Belle Resell said, beginner eBay question. When starting out on eBay, what metrics do you pay attention to the most in the performance tab? Traffic, click-through rate? Question mark.
The metric I would pay the most attention to is how much you're getting listed and making sure that your listings are true and as complete as possible. those are the metrics I would look for. All that other stuff kind of comes with time. I can tell you what not to look into, which are how many watchers you have on each individual item and how many views you're getting on each individual item. As far as the metrics on the eBay performance tab, I don't think you need to look at those on a day-to-day basis. I would look at them month to month. I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you're looking at metrics every single day, because there's not enough data there to understand whether you need to pivot. And if you're looking at it too often, you'll constantly be pivoting and you're never going to get to a point of consistency. So I would only track that stuff maybe every month. As far as that goes, I would say definitely your click-through rate and your sell-through rate are the most important. You want to be trying to increase those over time. I do think sell-through rate probably gets to a point where you're going to stall at some point, but those are the two metrics I would focus on the most.
Okay, don't forget to remember, said they found a whole rack of figs at their thrift, top and bottoms, all the same size. Some of them are matching. Would you list them as a set or just list individually?
I would list them as a set if they were the same style type. This is going to be a bad answer because it's going to require research. There's a style number on every single one of them. I would first make sure, are they men's or women's, before you pair anything. And then I would only create sets if they were sets of the same style and they were the same size, like a small top and a small bottom. Otherwise, I'd list them all separately. That's just what I would do. But great find. I love figs. It sells so well for us.
Crystal said, what is the best way to start an inventory system?
To just do it. The best way to start, first you want to figure out what you want to do. I have an evolution of inventory systems. At one point I had a tote that just said like tote A, and then within A was A1, A2, A3. I think you need to like try to look ahead the best that you can, determine what inventory system that you want. Try to think, if I grow this thing substantially and this time this year from now, I didn't say that right. How do I say that? A year from now at this time, if I have like 5 times the amount of inventory consistently that I do now, what inventory system would I want to have? Because I think if you don't look far enough ahead, you kind of end up doing multiple things until you finally reach what you should have done all along, which, don't beat yourself up if you do that. But if you can, in the beginning, try to look ahead as much as you can. If I would have done that, I would have started with this in the first place. But, you know, consider all possible inventory systems. Maybe watch some videos as to people that have these inventory systems, weigh the pros and cons, and then pick one and move forward. But I always say any inventory system is better than no inventory system, so pick one and fast.
As Nikki would say, send it.
Send it. Yeah, just send it.
Let's see. This is really helpful. Do we do live Q&A on a schedule?
We try to do it every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I try to schedule it at least a day in advance, so you should know on Sunday evening whether we're going to do one or not, because it'll be in like the upcoming live videos. We try to. I'm not always the most consistent. Sometimes we've got stuff going on, but we try to do live Q&As every Monday, 10 a.m. EST. We are coming near an end of the question, guys, so we're going to be getting off of here soon. I see a couple more we're going to blast through.
Okay, I can see where the new inventory system is efficient. However, what about cinching up once a box becomes nearly empty? Don't you have to touch each box to consolidate and free up space?
Yeah, so that's what we were talking about before, which is really the only con to it, in my opinion. The only con is the condensing. I mean, would you agree? Can you think of another one besides it's like confusing to switch from one to the other? I feel like we're used to it now.
I don't think it's too bad now.
Yeah, But condensing seems to be the only hang up, besides maybe like, you know, you got to buy extra boxes or whatever. But the amount of time that we're going to spend condensing is going to be far less than the time we're going to save. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but like my mental space feels freed up since doing it, because everything is like in a straight line and in order. So for me mentally, it's just like a game changer. Condensing, Marley's actually going to do some condensing today, so maybe we will time it, but I don't plan on doing it like every day or every week. I mean, you gotta weigh, is condensing going to take as much time as it takes you every single day to replace numbers and go to different spots in your inventory? It's probably not going to take that much time. I'll let you guys know after we have this for several months. I will let you guys know what I think then, because obviously we were doing the replace numbers, and we'll see.
On eBay, do you pay for promoted listings? I feel like we already answered that.
Yeah, we covered that at the beginning. Up until now, I have not done promoted listings. We're testing out some things right now. As a beginner, I don't recommend promoted listings. That's what I'll say. If you're not someone, if you're getting started and you're trying to like figure things out, I don't recommend promoted listings. I would avoid it until you figure everything else out.
Okay. Bella said, thank you so much for answering my question. What's your favorite first-class shipper?
My favorite first-class shipper, whatever is cheapest and not see-through. I don't care. What do you like? You like the printed or colorful ones?
Yeah, you got some floral ones. I love flowers.
Knew it. I said in that Temu unboxing, I did that unboxing by myself, and I was like, oh, Nikki's gonna love these. The girls are gonna love these. And I was like, I don't care, but it makes them happy.
Let's see.
I think we always order like 9 by 13 or somewhere close to that range. So if you're asking for size, it's usually like 10 by 13, 9 by 13.
Natasha said, I schedule my listings to go live at 7 a.m. Eastern time. Do you think that's too early?
Again, it's whatever works for you. I like to have mine scheduled and just done in the morning. Like, I don't want to have to think about it, and I think that that's better than worrying about it. If you want to optimize, I would suggest doing some research as to when buyers are most active on eBay or Poshmark or whatever platform that you want to look at scheduling items on. And then if it doesn't matter to you in your process when items get set active, then choose when your buyers are most active.
Okay. You mentioned increasing listings for fourth quarter to help sales. When do you start ramping up each year?
We usually try, I mean, I don't have like a set date. It kind of depends on the staff that we have, how well trained they are, how much can they actually get done in a day, and what's going on. But if everything were perfect, I would try to probably in April or May start increasing listings.
Okay. Autumn says, are you reusing SKUs when you pull an item or just pushing the items forward?
We're just creating new sequential numbers. So like I only have 6,000 items in the store, but we're at number 7,000 right now. So we'll just keep condensing back, and we don't fill in the gaps unless eventually there's like a giant gap, but we'll just keep going in numbers and keep like pushing everything back and condensing.
Okay. Jessica says, I find it more efficient for me when packing up to already have the items lint rolled and sealed in plastic bags before mailing. That inventory system works well for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the last question. Well, that wasn't really a question, but.
All right. Well, if you guys have nothing else, we are going to get off of here. We are almost on an hour and a half, so definitely got some other things to do, including condensing, so we'll let you know how that goes. But thanks so much for getting on. Appreciate all the positivity and even some of the suggestions that weren't positive, because it does get everybody thinking. Thank you guys so much. And what was that last comment? Guys, to each their own. I can tell you that this inventory system has worked out really well for us. And again, going back to everyone having their own opinions, you have to tune out and do what works for you. So if you don't like the inventory system, don't use it. Do what works best for you. If you think it might work for you, give it a try. You do not have to follow everyone's positive or negative advice. You have to just do what works for you. Okay, hearts, bye.